kind of debating it. I put a post up on Instagram and it seemed like 50-50. Some people said, yeah, leave it alone, it's perfect. And other people said, you know, drop it down. Is 3/8 of an inch and quarter in the front. I'm gonna go ahead and wash it and then we'll start doing some driving videos. So some exciting news, I just got off the phone with Mita. MITA, these are the people that make the wheels. I didn't get a discount on these. I paid full price for them because I do like them. I have seen them before I bought them and I was impressed with the quality. The fact that they're forged and they're an exact knockoff of the Mugen wheels, which I really like and you can't get anymore. These are 1 inch wider and they fit absolutely perfect. I asked them, hey, is there any way I could get a coupon code to share with our viewers for you guys that are interested in buying these? Okay, so an update, they did give us a coupon code. It's 10% off. The coupon code is LHT S2000, all one word. Gonna take 10% off. I wanted you to get the discount. You guys follow us and subscribe, and eventually we're gonna hit 100,000 subscribers and make money on this channel. MitaMotorsports.com. So what does OEM Plus mean to you? To me, it's the car drives completely normal, acts normal. If you was to loan it to somebody, you wouldn't need to give them a list of instructions of do's and don'ts. I've been kind of obsessed with having this quiet exhaust because a loud exhaust is great for the first day and then it soon becomes annoying. The plus part means it looks better, stops better, handles better, and of course more power, but obviously whenever you increase something you usually have a side effect, like more power usually means more noise, you know, better handling usually means it's lower and it's stiffer. So trying to find that OEM balance and performance balance is what I've tried to do with this car. And it's something that we work on a lot of these cars. So I try and make sure that whatever we have and sell, it's good that I would like it. I don't have plans to do a hardtop on this car. I did have a hardtop on my last S2000. It was a 07 in Rio Yellow Pearl. It looked absolutely beautiful with the hardtop. But what I found out is once the hardtop is installed, you don't often remove it. It tends to just stay there. And one of the fun things about this car is dropping the top and enjoying the whole convertible feel of it. So the weather doesn't look real good. So the beauty of an S2000 is has probably one of the fastest soft tops up and down you can get. So e-brake up, hit the soft top, and windows go down, top comes up, one hand operation right there. Couldn't be any easier. Do it have a traffic light, you're not going to get wet. So we're cruising along and the exhaust is very quiet. The way we set it up, the valve is closed, it's using the second muffler as a resonator. All of the gas is going out the 2.5 side. When you hit boost, the valve opens, you get full 3-inch, and it's still not that loud when it goes to 3-inch. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that in a minute when I get around this corner. Bring boost lightly, then full boost. So at 45 miles an hour at 2,500 RPMs, if I just ease on the throttle, you can hear the turbo just, it's right there. You hear that? It's ready to go. And very little input, it makes power, and you can hear that valve open. And it's opening out 4.5 pounds of boost, and you can definitely hear it. Ready? Right there. That's when it opens to a full 3-inch. It gets quite a bit louder, but it's still pretty mellow. So the S2000 is fantastic just in stock form, but like I always say, a little bit more power always makes it a little bit more fun. It's easier to drive with less RPMs. You've got power on tap, so much power down low. You don't need to downshift as much, but you can't go wrong even with a stock S2000. And what makes the S2000 so fantastic is it's easy to work on. The parts are still plentiful. Transmissions, differentials, they're still available. Still plenty of people rebuilding them. You can keep this car going for a long time. And with all our packages, everything is reversible. No permanent modifications to the car. We leave the engines completely stock, transmission stock. Everything can be taken back apart and it can be pieced out and sold separately, and the car can be put back to stock just the way it came. So I did drive around these roads with the K-Sight. I don't know if you saw that video, the all-wheel drive K-Sight. That thing was so overpowered. It was great to show its specs. You know, it made 500 horsepower. It was around 1,700 pounds all-wheel drive. The numbers show that the car is fantastic, but it was overpowered. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize. When you make something so fast, it's not as much fun to drive because it's squirrely, but you're also increasing the chance of breaking things. That's one of the reasons we stick to 400 horsepower in the S2000. But just listen to the turbo, and you hear the exhaust follow suit. Typically turbos spool late and they have no power until the turbo's ready, and then all of a sudden things start getting crazy. This builds boost right away, so you don't have that feel. It's just pretty much seamless. Ready? It's ready to go all the time. Of course, I'm on back road, so I don't want to go too crazy here. That was just rolling into it in 4th gear. So of course, one of the things I don't really like about the S2000, just the fact that it's small. I'm 6'2", so the car is very small. I always drop the top, gives me the feeling that the car is much bigger, plus it's part of the enjoyment of driving the car. I did do a backyard special seat rail for the driver's side. It dropped the seat about an inch, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but it definitely made all the difference. I got that from Evasive Motorsports. They have them in stock, but definitely worthwhile. In 1999, I remember driving one, and compared to my 200 horsepower CRX, I thought, well, it's okay. Well, now in 2023, everything is much faster. Pickup trucks, minivans, even a V6 Camry is insanely fast compared to the S2000. Now, this car is fantastic on the back roads or on canyon roads. Even when I took it to Tail of the Dragon, it was plenty fast. So I think it depends on where you are and what else you've driven, whether you think this car is fast or not. Now, I'm not saying it's slow, but compared to most of the things I drive, put the turbo on this thing, 350 to 400 horsepower, the car is absolutely fantastic. I'll show you some dynos at the end of this video. It is actually quite impressive, especially for a 2023. Not to mention the car looks fantastic. It looks still like a modern car. It doesn't need a whole lot to bring this up to a very modern looking car. And the fact it's easy to work on, parts, even though they're getting harder, are still relatively cheap compared to so many other cars. So I just want to talk about some of the parts we used, and then in a separate video I'm going to talk about clutches, because it is a controversial topic. And at LHT we have installed probably about 500 clutches on S2000s alone. I might be underestimating there. Well, the clutch we used was an FX300, very light pedal pressure, nice engagement. We've made almost 500 to the wheels on this clutch. I wouldn't recommend it. It's beyond its torque rating. The 300 part is based on torque, so we're already kind of pushing it on the high side. We're at 300 foot-pounds to the wheels on this car. Skunk 2 Pro C, honestly, I was a skeptic because some of the Skunk 2 stuff is better than others. I won't go any further into it than that. The Pro C line, we sold a lot of them, had 2 or 3 customers come back after years and give us feedback and actually get to look at this stuff, and they actually work out very good. It's pretty inexpensive, it's very adjustable. It's been on this car for 2 years now. I definitely like it. It has the LHT brake package, which comprises of the StopTech slotted rotors, upgraded pads, upgraded lines. We rebuilt the calipers using high attempt grease, and it works very well unless you're doing full track days. And then at that point, the only addition would be to do brake ducting. The exhaust, of course, I wanted something quiet. I wanted something that would handle the power, and I didn't want to add any extra weight. So this full titanium system is about 1/3 of the weight of the factory system, has the boost option, so we have a full 3-inch under full load, 2.5 under partial load. So good compromise all the way around. The interior, all we did was change to red seat belts. I did a red stitched steering wheel, red stitched shift boot, and then of course the backyard special dropped the driver's side seat rail an inch, made a huge difference. That's pretty much it for the interior. Cosmetics, the last things that we just did was the MITA MS10 wheels, which are basically the knockoff Mugen. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They copied the Mugen wheels, which in my opinion are the best wheel there is. I absolutely love those, but they're also strong, light, and fit without any rubbing, so that is a must for me. The other part was the CR parts. I tend to be a little more conservative with my styling, so I went with the CR parts because they're OEM quality, OEM fit. So not to paint my parts that had VIN numbers on, I bought a CR bumper, CR lip, CR trunk leg, and CR wing, and had them color coded to match the car by Superior. There was no blending done. These were painted individually. I picked them up and bolted them on, and the paint match is absolutely fantastic. They knock it out the park every single time. They're not one of the cheapest paint shops around. Definitely worth it to have the paint done right the first time. That is pretty much it for modifications, and I gotta say, it's like an OEM plus build. The turbo, some people are gonna wonder why we did an airbox. In the engine bay, it looks kind of normal. Whenever you take the airbox out, it looks like something is missing, which of course the airbox is like a 2-foot long box sitting in there. So it fills the hole and it's actually functional. So I'm actually quite happy with the way that worked out. But other than that, the car doesn't really disappoint. It doesn't do anything bad. I wish it was 5% bigger. Other than that, anything that did bother me in the beginning, I think we've addressed. I really like this car. This is the stock Civic Type R dyno versus our car, the way it sits. But as you see, the stock Type R is about 300 to the wheels, and it's done by around 6,700 RPM. That's the factory rev limiter. You see our car is pulling all the way to 84 is where I've got the rev limiter set. Let's go ahead and put just the torque on there so you can see, because the Civic Type R does build a lot of its torque right off around 3,000 RPM. There is just the torque graph right there. Civic Type R being in blue, as you see, its peak torque is around 4,100 RPMs, where our torque on the S2000 peak is around 65. That's one of the reasons you drive a Civic Type R. It feels so good down low because it makes instant power, and obviously when you tune them, that goes up quite a bit, but you can see that longer range of power up top with the S2000. This is the GT4 I had. We didn't get a torque reading on this. The GT4 was dynoed in 5th gear, the S2000 in 4th gear, but it gives you an idea. It's both right at 400 horsepower, really. And the S2000 feels faster than the GT4 because it made more of its torque down low compared to the GT4, which was very linear, but it was all up top. I wish I could have got the torque reference on that car. This is the exact same year car, but a supercharger versus our turbo. Our turbo is in blue. I see horsepowers are pretty similar. The supercharger made 10 horsepower up top, and the torque is very linear, which is what I've tried to talk about in past videos. If I take the torque off right here, you'll see just a clear sign of the horsepower. You see, it doesn't really lose anything. It makes power right away, and it just builds. If I put just the torque graph on right here and take the horsepower off, so we have peak torque right here on the turbo in blue at around 4,500, 4,600 RPMs, where the supercharger is up top. It's right at the full spectrum of the RPM, right at 8,000 RPMs. So again, it's a different feel. The supercharger is more linear, and I often say it's a little bit easier to control, but the turbo makes it feel just like a faster car generally. It just gives you more power instantly. And of course it's quieter, you don't get the supercharger noise.